have the ruins of Hazor, which the Bible tells us in Joshua chapter 11 was burned with fire. You go there, it's destroyed around 1400 BC, and you find destruction layers where there's evidence that this was burned by fire. And as they dig around, they find ancient libraries that are called the Mari tablets. The Bible tells us that there was a guy named Jabin, the king of Hazor, who reigned over this place when it was destroyed. Guess who the Mari tablets talk about? King Jabin. And so everything lines up exactly with what this book is saying. And this book, this is 3,400 years ago plus. And everything we're finding is matching up exactly with what the Bible is telling us.
You know, I really love this interview that this guy did because it is filled with so many fallacies in trying to prove the Exodus, and it doesn't prove the Exodus at all. In this video, he doesn't make too many mistakes. Most of it is conjecture. But one of the first mistakes that I noticed that he made, which got my attention about this video, is the fact that he said that the city was burned. And the city was burned, but that the city was burned in 1400 BCE. When actually, when you research Tel Hazor, the city was burned in 1200 BCE. You see, he would have been better off saying that during the Israelite conquest of Joshua, the city was burned, and that Joshua probably would have existed in and around the 1200 BCE time frame. Because we do have historically an Israelite kingdom in and around 1000 to 800, well, 1000 to 800 BCE before there is the civil war that breaks it up into the northern Israel and southern Judah. But the problem is that he has to fit this storyline into the 1400s in order for the Moses story, the Exodus story, to be true. But what we do know is that even at that time frame of the 1200s, the Levant, the area to which he speaks of, was controlled by Egypt. It was a vassal state of Egypt. So therefore, the Israelites in no way, shape, or form are the ones who burned down that city. Most likely, the city was burned down by the Egyptians, because during the 1200 BCE, many of the subcultures and cultures that were part of the vassal state of Egypt in that area began to revolt and began to have issues by being under Egyptian control. And it doesn't culminate until around the early 1100s that the Phoenicians finally defeated the Egyptians, and they left the Levant. And at that time frame, you have a scramble from all the Canaanites and the Amorites and everybody else. Now, it is possible on the Marina, I'm probably saying that name wrong, tablet, it says Ibn Adi. And Ibn Adi could be the etymological root of the word Jabin, because it could be translated into Yabin, which could be Jabin later on as the language evolves into the time frame of the 800s and 700s BCE when this story is actually being written. So that is possible that the name is right. But here's the thing. Let's just say the Bible talks about battles that actually happen. And it does. It talks about battles that actually happen. It talks about places that actually existed. But simply because it talks about battles and places that existed, and even people that most likely existed, does that make the Exodus story true? Does that make splitting the Red Sea true? Does that make the 10 plagues of Egypt true? Does that make Yahweh true? And if your answer to that is yes, then what you have to look at, and I'm going to give you just one great, perfect example of being in the exact same area. Archaeologists were able to find the lost city of Troy because they followed the clues that are in Homer's Iliad and Odyssey. So if you say that the Bible is true because you can trace back some of these battles and cities and certain places and certain people based on the Bible, and that makes the miracles true, then the same thought process, the same qualifications fit for Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, because we found Troy. So that means you believe that Zeus came down, had sex with a mortal woman and produced Achilles. And Achilles could not be killed by any other method other than the heel, the Achilles tendon, by being pierced there. And then that would shatter his invincibility. Because when he was dipped, the goddess that dipped him was holding on to his ankle. But she was only holding on to one ankle. So only one ankle is vulnerable. The rest of his body is invulnerable. So that means you will have to believe in that. That would mean that you also have to believe that there are sirens who sit on the rocks and they sing to men to cause their ships to crash into the rocks and die. And the sirens then go and devour the men. That means you would also have to believe that there are cyclops that run around and they have Cyclops Island. And on Cyclops Island, they kill, and they're giants, and they kill and they eat humans. So you would have to believe in those things as well. You can't have it one way over the other. And this is the same when people reference Tacitus and Pliny. Tacitus, Pliny, they also wrote about the god Serapis. So that means that you have to believe in Serapis if you believe in Jesus based on Pliny and Tacitus. You see what I'm saying? The math ain't mathing. The logic don't fit. Your logic truly becomes illogical. So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration. ShineUniverse.org. Click on menu, click on team.